This is the Music History Today podcast for November the 21st. On today's show, Olivia Newton-John hits number one, Elvis gets sold, and the Backstreet Boys have a huge album. First up, though, on this date in 1934, the musical Anything Goes by Cole Porter opened at the Alvin Theater on Broadway. In 1934, same day, dancer Ella Fitzgerald performed at the Apollo Theater's Amateur Night for the very first time and won. Not for her dancing, though, but for her singing. And that started her on the road to music immortality. In 1955, Sam Phillips sold Elvis Presley's contract to RCA Records for $35,000. Some said that it was agreed upon on November the 20th, but it was officially signed on the 21st. Now, before you laugh and say that Sam was stupid for doing that, remember a few things. First off, Elvis Presley only had 1 year left on his contract and was probably not going to re-sign for cheap money. Nor would you. I mean, at that point, Elvis was huge. Second, $35,000 way back in the day was worth just over $410,000 in today's money. Third, Sam invested that money in a local hotel chain that was starting up and beginning to have thoughts of getting bigger. That hotel chain was Holiday Inn, which turned Sam into a multi-millionaire. So really, win-win for everybody. In 1981, Physical by Olivia Newton-John reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart. The song stayed number one for 10 straight weeks, became the biggest song of the year, and changed Olivia Newton-John's sugar-sweet image at that point. We discuss this particular song, along with the rest of Olivia Newton-John's career and many other things, on this week's Music History In-Depth podcast, which has dropped on this network. In 1982, Joni Mitchell married musician and producer Larry Klein. In 1992, Adam Sandler debuted the Thanksgiving song during a skit on the Weekend Update segment on Saturday Night Live. In 1995, legendary manager of the Yardbirds, Led Zeppelin, Bad Company, and the Jeff Beck Group, Mr. Peter Grant, passed away from heart issues at the age of 60. In 1997, the animated movie musical Anastasia premiered in movie theaters. And in 2017, singer and actor David Cassidy passed away from organ failure at the age of 67. According to his daughter, David's final words were, quote, "So much wasted time," end quote. That is a lesson for all of us, I think. In award ceremonies that were held on November the 21st, in 2006, Sean Paul, Rascal Flatts, and Kelly Clarkson were among the big winners at the American Music Awards, and in 2010, Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber were among the big winners at the American Music Awards. Albums that were released on November the 21st include in 1966 when Joan Baez released Noel. In 1969, the Moody Blues released To Our Children's Children's Children, but only in the UK on that date. In 1975, Queen released their big album, A Night at the Opera, also only in the UK on that date. In 1977, Earth, Wind & Fire released All in All. In 1980, REO Speedwagon released High Infidelity, a huge album for them. Also on that same day, Steely Dan released a huge album for them, Gaucho. In 1983, Duran Duran released a huge album for them, Seven and the Ragged Tiger. In 1986, Soul Asylum released While You Were Out. In 1988, My Bloody Valentine released Isn't Anything. In 1989, Rush released Presto. In 1993, Tiffany released Dreams Never Die. In 1994, New Order released their big-selling album, The Best of New Order. In 1995, Ace of Base released The Bridge. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers released Playback. Bruce Springsteen released The Ghost of Tom Joad, and Stevie Wonder released Natural Wonder. In 2000, the Backstreet Boys released their huge album Black and Blue, which was one of the few albums at the time to sell over 1 million copies in its first week alone. Also in 2000, Everclear released Songs from an American Movie Volume 2, Good Time for a Bad Attitude. Elton John released One Night Only, The Greatest Hits, and Lynyrd Skynyrd released Collectibles. In 2003, Korn released Take a Look in the Mirror. In 2006, Jay-Z released Kingdom Come, and Daughtry released their debut album, along with the DBs releasing Christmas Time Again. In 2007, Kylie Minogue released X, or 10 if you prefer, and in 2014, David Guetta released Listen. Singles that were released on November the 21st include in 1961 when Elvis Presley did a twofer. He released Rocka Hula Baby and Can't Help Falling in Love. And in 2013, Pharrell released his huge hit, Happy. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that we've started Season 2 of the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth on some of the events that we mention on this particular podcast. The Music History In-Depth podcast drops every Tuesday on this podcast network. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on November the 21st include jazz saxophonist Coleman Hawkins, the legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Dr. John. Two members of the Sugar Cubes also have birthdays on this date. Bjork of the Sugar Cubes and also solo fame, and Margaret Arnold-Dottir. Also celebrating birthday, singer Carly Rae Jepsen, who just got married. Congratulations. Singer Lorna Luft, Kelsey Osborne of Shadazy, Andrew Love of the Memphis Horns, Alex James of Blur, musician Stephen Curtis Chapman, Peter Kops of The Church, singer-songwriter Livingston Taylor, Gary Peel of Boston, Rabbit Bundrick of Free, Lonnie Jordan of War, singer-songwriter David Porter, songwriter Buck Ram, country music singer Gene Shepard, singer Connor Maynard, singer Davido, Levi Jones of The Tide, singer Ruel, and singer Nick Gilder. Artists who unfortunately passed away on November the 21st, other than the ones mentioned earlier, include organist and composer Henry Purcell, organist William Russell, violinist Joseph Mayceder, pianist Leopold Godowski, clarinetist Larry Shields of the original Dixieland Jazz Band, violinist Carol Haba, flute player Severino Gazzaloni, singer-songwriter Smilin' Jim Ames, organist Bernard Rose, lyricist Eddie Maxwell, jazz singer Hadda Brooks, singer-songwriter Teddy Randazzo, guitarist Bill D'Angelo of Femme Fatale, blues guitarist Robert Lockwood Jr., pianist Jason Gavietti, Devin Lima of the group LFO, guitarist Wilco Johnson of the group Dr. Feelgood from 1971 to 1977, and singer Chad Allen of the Guess Who from 1962 to 1965. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is November the 22nd, when in 1997, the world lost INXS lead singer Michael Hutchence at the age of 37.